Hey guys, Kevin here to bring you a brand new video where today we're going to be doing day 19 of Horror October, and the movie that we're going to be talking about today is called The Fly 2. It's the big anticipated sequel to The Fly, which is one of my favorite movies, and it's in this kind of cool collection that I got. But holy fuck, this movie is a stain on that collection because it is pretty freaking bad. Yeah, do you ever like watch a movie and you're just like looking at it and you're like, what is this movie's deal? Like what's the deal with this movie? Like what's going on here? I don't I don't understand why this movie exists. What is it serving a purpose for, really? I thought that a lot throughout watching it, and then like I kind of realized with a lot of this stuff they were showing that it's just an excuse to make a more gory version of The Fly, really. Um, but other than that, I don't really know what it's trying to do. You have this whole thing of like, oh well, Gina Davis, the Gina Davis character in the last one, she was pregnant, so they wanted to make a sequel of that because she was pregnant. And right from the get go, they're like, we have to kill the mother, which is already like just why do you need to do that? And like this is the reason why Gina Davis didn't want to do the movie, because her character was just gonna die at the beginning, which I don't blame her for, and I think it's totally stupid to just kill off the mom. It makes zero sense. So like she has this baby, and it's like this larva sac thing, but it has a baby inside of it. Huh? Like, how does this even work? What how does this make sense? Because even the first Fly, when I was watching this movie, I was thinking about the first Fly. I was like, gee, even like that movie doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense with this whole like gene splicing thing where Brundle slowly becomes a fly, because it's just like how does that even work? And I feel like this movie makes you like question it even more, because it's like, okay, so if you have a kid, it's gonna be like in a larva sac, but it's also like a baby, and then it's like gonna grow up as a normal human, but once it matures enough, it will, turn into a fly. Like it never makes sense now, when especially when you see this movie. So like I just don't get what this movie's deal is, because and you have this whole thing of like this kid growing up and being raised, but he's different, he's not like the others, and he's raised within this lab where they do these tests, and they have these pods that they saved from Brundle's lab. And it's just like bizarre, since like they have this kid who's basically like their little like experiment that they're like watching grow, and for some reason he has this like accelerated growth syndrome, which is just like, that's not how that works, because like in part of the movie he was like, my dad had this, he was the other guy who had this disease. But like, no, he wasn't. You never saw Seth Brundle or Jeff Goldblum's character, have like gray hairs. He just slowly became a fly. He didn't get old. Like, that had nothing to do with it. Like, the fact that this movie is suddenly like proposing that like, oh, getting having this happen to you will make you age fast. Like how do you even like just develop that like randomly out of nowhere? And then you have this like whole thing of like the scientists want him to like basically carry on his father's work and do what his father did, which is so stupid. Just let the guy do whatever he wants. Like, why does he have to be the guy that carries on his father's work and basically does the same things he does with like researching these telepods? Like okay, you just want him to be like just like his dad, like all right, but like you're literally just like saying do this, and then it's just a way to kind of integrate him into that whole plot line of kind of going through similar stuff that his dad did, with like, oh my god, I'm transforming, how do I fix this, what do I do, and whatnot. um, that kind of thing. And also, like, this movie makes a lot of, like, reasons just to, like, call back to the original, which just feel, like, wrong and badly placed. Like, there's a John Getz cameo. He's, like, in it for, like, a little bit, where they, like, visit his house to try to, like, get help from him. Like, he knows what to do, which he doesn't, and he's just, like, telling the story of what happened and how his girlfriend got stolen from him by this crazy man. And that just like had no purpose in it. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff like that in this movie. And then also you have this like love story that they try to like manufacture that could not be more like artificial, and it's just not how you like form a romance. Like there's so little like to go off of here with these two people's connection. Like Eric Stoltz sees this girl and then like he finds her like attractive and then like chases after her and asks her out basically, and then they do like a dance together with like this weird ass music, and then that's it. And then you're expected to be like, oh yeah, they're in love, and they show them having sex. Like, all right, dude, yeah, sure, they're in love. Like, what? And then you're supposed to be like invested in like what happens to all these characters, because there's like high stakes here with Eric Stoltz's character is going to be just like his dad, so like how are we going to fix this, like what are we going to do, and the girlfriend is like afraid for him and fearing for him. I feel like there is like a little while, just like a little while, where like Eric Stoltz, you're kind of like rooting for him a little bit, just because like the people in the company like Bartok Industries, they're like the villains of this who want to just like use him as an experiment basically and study him and try to use him as like a way of furthering life in the world, like a biological experiment. And he doesn't want that. He just wants to like survive and not turn into this and be able to live normally. So you're kind of like rooting for him a little bit, I guess. But then like he turns into a fly, and then it's all just like gruesome horror from there on. And now even before that, there's like just so much gruesome stuff, man. Oh my god, the horror in this movie is actually so disgusting. Like if you found The Fly a little disgusting, you would be absolutely horrified by what this movie shows as far as horror. There's like a part where like a guy's face gets melted off. There's a part where like a guy's head gets like crushed and explodes. Like there is some like really gruesome stuff in this movie that I don't think I've ever seen in a movie before, and I'm not applauding it for that, because like holy fuck, it is so jarring. And it's also pretty gross and also weird for the plot how, when Eric Stoltz starts becoming this fly thing, he like turns into this like cocoon, which is just like, hey, that didn't happen in the first movie. In the first movie, it's just a guy, coming out of a human and who turns out to be a fly. He comes out of Jeff Goldblum and he's just a fly. Like it didn't work like that in the first movie. So like why are you doing it like this now? Like, he's like cradled up and he's like wrapped in like webs and shit. Like oh, okay, dude. Like, what even is this? And like it's played up like the ending is like you're trying to root for him, and he eventually like gets what he wants by doing like a genetic mutation thing, where like he brings another person into the pod with him, and then he like mutates with them, and then he somehow like comes out like spliced together with this other guy, but like he's okay, like so like he actually gets out and he's like a normal human again, and then it's like yay, the story ends good, and then you have this like weird creature thing that like spawns out of it. Yeah, it's just so bizarre. And like Chris Walas directed this movie, who was the makeup like supervisor for the first movie. He was like the guy who did like all the creature stuff. And the fact that this guy is directing the movie is just like, you know it's problematic because there's just so many like bad direction choices, like with like how the romance is developed, like the progression of the plot with like the dialogue between the characters, like all the different like events that unfold, and like the way actors deliver their lines. Like you can tell that like the direction here is just problematic. There's just so much like wrong with it. Like the only thing that this movie succeeds with, and it doesn't even like appeal to me because it's just too much, is the gore of it. And that's what this makeup person is going for. They're going for this extreme amount of gore, which is just like I'm not into that. So yeah, I really don't like this movie. I mean, I suppose it's somewhat watchable at times. It's not terrible all the way through, but yeah, I really don't like it. I'm going to give it a 4.6 out of 10. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you have, and I'll see you guys in the next one.